Okay, American literature. Here we see that categorization based on the dominant historical, cultural, political, and literary events. So it is very difficult to categorize American literature as we have analyzed or as we have seen in British literature. Anyway, American literature has been categorized according to the historical, cultural, political, and literary events. So, the literature of the first, the colonial period, a period mostly religious literature. Edward Tyler and Anne Bradstreet laid the foundation of the rich poetic tradition. So, even America, it was a colonized country under the British Empire, and also we can see that the Native Americans are the black people. They were colonized by the advent of Europeans into the land of America. So this in this period we see that most of the literature was religious, and we have seen that the important authors Edward Tyler and Anne Bradstreet laid the foundation of the rich poetic tradition. Then, after the colonial period, the Revolutionary Age. Revolutionary Age 1765-1790. Resistance in the colony and later the granting of freedom. Of course, the people of the colony, the people of the American colony, they started protesting against the imperial rule. So, that kind of, or the protest, that theme can be reflected in the works of the Revolutionary Age. Thomas Jefferson's political essays. You see, political essays. Through the political essays, Thomas Jefferson, he was, what we can say, giving instructions for the natives of America to regain the freedom what they had in the previous years. Then patriotic writings. Patriotic writings. Everybody is having their own writings, or the authors they concentrated on the writings which reflect patriotism throughout their works. Through patriotism, we see that everyone will be having an energy, everyone will be having a stimulus to protest against the imperial rule. So, in that period, all the works reflected patriotism, and all the works reflected the political atrocities towards the colonized people. After this one, Revolutionary Age, the early national period, 1775-1828. In this period, the early national period, in this period we see that the first American comedy, the first American comedy, sorry, we don't have N in America. The first American comedy, Royal Tyler's The Contrast. Royal Tyler's The Contrast, 1787, the first American comedy. It was introduced in this period. And the first American magazine, the North American Review. The North American Review began its publication in 1815 during this period. Then, after that, the Romantic era, Transcendentalism, the American Renaissance. Three names can be seen: the Romantic era, otherwise known as Transcendentalism or the American Renaissance. So, the American Renaissance, this name got for this era from the work of F.O. Matheson, The American Renaissance. F.O. മാത്യൂസിൻ്റെ അമേരിക്കൻ റിനൈസൻസ് ദ അമേരിക്കൻ റിനൈസൻസ് എന്നുള്ള വാക്കിൽ നിന്നുമാണ് ഈ ഇറക്ക് ദ അമേരിക്കൻ റിനൈസൻസ് എന്നുള്ള പേര് കിട്ടിയത്. The worship of nature and wilderness. Of course, one of the peculiarities of Romantic age, the worship of nature or worshipping nature as a god, pantheism, that we have seen in the British literature. So the American literature, Romantic era also, it has certain qualities like this: worship of nature, love towards the natural beings, and wilderness. Then some of the works in this period, Emerson, the American writer Emerson, self-reliance. Emerson once opinioned that a teacher is one who makes hard things soft. Emerson, self-reliance. Herman Melville, Moby Dick. The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne. So, some works in the Romantic era or in the era of American Renaissance. After this one, after American Renaissance, we have the realistic period. The realistic period, literature that emerged after Civil War, the Emancipation Proclamation and Reconstruction. So we must be having a clear idea of what is meant by Civil War. Anyway, after this slide you will be getting the exact idea of Civil War. Mark Twain, some of the works in the realistic period: The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain. All these two works, it was a sarcastic realism, it was a satire, and it expresses the regionalism. All these novels, it was set in the Mississippi River. So the regionalism means the American people, the colonized people of America, they wanted to have their own region, they wanted to have their own region, they wanted to have their own land back from the colonization. And that kind of regionalism can be seen through the works of Mark Twain, Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, and Adventures of Tom Sawyer. In these two works, there we can see that there is a Lucky Jim, the character Lucky Jim, a Negro. He was exploited by the white people, and he was running from the clutches of the white people in order to get to the freedom. So one of the themes that can be seen through these works, or one of the themes that can be seen in these works, the Negro who is running far away from the clutches of the white people in order to get his own freedom. And the Mississippi River and its flowing also shows that the freedom is not at all far away. They will be acquiring it very soon. So in this kind of this period literature after the Civil War, there must be the emancipation and proclamation and reconstruction of freedom. Then the American Civil War was a civil war in the United States from 1861 to 1865, fought between northern states loyal to the Union and southern states that had seceded to form the Confederate States of America. The Civil War began primarily as a result of long-standing controversy over the enslavement of black people. So we see that American Civil War, it was from 1861 to 1865 between two groups. Northern states, they were loyal to the Union. Southern states, neither group, Southern states that had seceded to form the Confederate States of America. They had taken back their membership from the Confederate State of America. And the Civil War, which fought mainly on the controversy over the enslavement of black people. Controversy on the enslavement of black people. Black people are the real inhabitants of the land of America. War broke out in April 1861 when the secessionist forces attacked Fort Sumter in South Carolina just over a month after Abraham Lincoln had been inaugurated as President of the United States. So, the incident at the time of American Civil War. Then the Loyalists of the Union in the North, which also included some geographically western and southern states, proclaimed support for the Constitution. Abraham Lincoln, the first secessionists of the Confederate States in South, who advocated for states' right to uphold slavery. So anyway, you will be getting an idea about the American Civil War. Then after this one, after the realistic period shesham, the naturalist period. Literature of the 20th century up to the commencement of World War I. So World War I, we know that 1914 to 1918. Then Second World War 1939 to 1945. So this naturalistic period 1900-1914. Literature of the 20th century up to the commencement of World War I. Up to the beginning of World War I. Frank Norris, Jack London and Theodore Dreiser, naturalists in American fiction. So some of the writers of this period: Frank Norris, Jack London, Theodore Dreiser, they are naturalists in their writings. The Call of the Wild, another work written by Jack London. So maybe for the examination for 1 mark, we can expect The Call of the Wild, and you have to match with the correct answer. Then we see that the modernist period. The modernist period 1914 to 1939. 1914, the advent of First World War. 1939, the advent of Second World War, the beginning, the commencement of Second World War. The era between the two world wars. The American authors achieved widespread international recognition and influence by the founding of Poetry magazine in Chicago by Harriet Monroe in 1912. So during this period, we see that the American authors they achieved widespread international recognition. ഈ ഒരു കാലഘട്ടത്തിലാണ് അമേരിക്കൻ എഴുത്തുകാർക്കെല്ലാം ലോകമൊട്ടാകെയുള്ള പ്രസിദ്ധി കിട്ടുന്നത്. Widespread international recognition with the influence of one magazine named Poetry. It was published in Chicago by Harriet Monroe, 1912. ഈ മാഗസിൻ പോയട്രി എന്ന് പറയുന്ന മാഗസിനിലൂടെയാണ് ദ അമേരിക്കൻ ഓതേഴ്സ് അച്ചീവ്ഡ് ദ വൈഡ് സ്പ്രെഡ് റെക്കഗ്നീഷൻ. Ernest Hemingway. So some of the works in this period. ഈ പീരീഡിലെ ചില വർക്കുകൾ കാണാം. ഏണസ്റ്റ് ഹെമിംഗ്വേ, his novels, The Sun Also Rises, For Whom the Bell Tolls, Old Man and the Sea. So again for the examination, a question that can be asked under match the following. For example, Old Man and the Sea. In another section, section B, you will be getting Ernest Hemingway. Then some of the dramas during this period, the modernist period. Eugene O'Neill, The Emperor Jones. Eugene O'Neill, അദ്ദേഹത്തിൻ്റെ The Emperor Jones, The Hairy Ape, some of the plays, some of the dramas during this period. Then imagism, symbolism, naturalism, stream of consciousness, existentialism, expressionism, Harlem Renaissance. All these movements that can be seen during this period, the modernist period. So we must be having a clear-cut idea of what is meant by stream of consciousness and what is Harlem Renaissance. The other all categories, imagism, symbolism, naturalism, existentialism, expressionism, ഇതെല്ലാം നമുക്ക് ചില വർക്കുകളിലൂടെ കാണാം. What we can say, expressionism, Emperor Jones and Hairy Ape, all these dramas are written under the theory expressionism. Then, so this is Harlem Renaissance. This is an intellectual, artistic explosion centered in the Harlem. Why? Because of the advent of urbanization, the African Americans, the real natives of American land, they were compelled to migrate to they were compelled to migrate from their own land. So especially from the area of Harlem, in that time, Harlem Renaissance, it emerged, this movement emerged. It was an intellectual, social and artistic explosion. In 1890, okay. In 1918, the novelist May Sinclair first applied the term stream of consciousness in a literary text when discussing Dorothy Richardson's novels. So, an added information about stream of consciousness. Then after the modernist period, the post-war period, 1939-1970. The post-war period means the period after the two world wars. The Black Mountain Poets, the movement of Black Mountain Poets, Charles Olson, Robert Creeley, Paul Blackburn and Robert Duncan. The Black Mountain Poets, sometimes called projectivist poets, were a group of mid-20th century American avant-garde or postmodern poets centered on Black Mountain College in North Carolina. So Black Mountain Poets, here we see that it is sometimes called projectivist poets. This is a group of mid-20th century American postmodern poet. This is an American postmodern poet centered on Black Mountain College in North Carolina. So the American postmodern poets or the American avant-garde poets centered on the Black Mountain College in North Carolina, and their works, and that group is known as Black Mountain Poets or projectivist poets. So the movement of Black Mountain Poets was one of the advantage that can be seen in this period, the post-war period. So again, the Black Mountain Poets, although it lasted only 23 years, 1933 to 1956, and enrolled fewer than 1,200 students, Black Mountain College was one of the most fabled experimental institutions in art, education, and practice. It launched a remarkable number of the artists who spearheaded the avant-garde in the America of the 1960s. It boasted an extraordinary curriculum in visual, literary, and performing arts. So the Black Mountain Group or Black Mountain Poets. So I told you the Black Mountain College. There we see that, and the artists and the teachers of the Black Mountain College, they gave prominence for the extraordinary curriculum. It was meant in visual, literary, and performing arts. But anyway, we say that this Black Mountain College, it lasted only 23 years, and there were fewer amount of students. 1,200 students were admitted. It was an experimental institution in art and education and practice. It was an experimental institution, an institution which was made mainly for an experiment in art, education, and practice. Then their curriculum also, it was an extraordinary curriculum, and it included visual, literary, and performing arts. Then another movement that can be seen in post-war period, hippie movement, a progressive anti-war movement that stood for gender equality, sexual liberation, and African American rights flourished in 1960s. The hippie subculture The hippie subculture began its development as a youth movement in the United States during the early 1960s and then developed around the world, including harmony with nature, communal living, artistic experimentation, particularly in music, and widespread use of recreational drugs. So hippie movement, it means that this is a progressive anti-war movement. This is an anti-war movement. An anti-war means anti-Second World War movements that stood for gender equality, sexual liberation, and African American rights. This hippie movement, it was an anti-war movement we have discussed, and we see that the advocates of hippie movement, that stood for or they wanted gender equality, they wanted sexual liberation, and they wanted African American rights. So the African American rights, the real inhabitants of the land of America, the black people, of course we say that they wanted they wanted to get gender equality, or they wanted to get equality among the society, and also the other people too. They wanted gender equality, sexual liberation, and the African American rights that can be seen in this movement. The hippie subculture began its development as a youth movement in United States during the early 1960s and then developed around the world, including harmony with nature, communal living, artistic experimentation, particularly in music, and widespread use of recreational drugs. So of course we see that if we living in a culture we know that it's a totality of learned behavior. It includes rituals, beliefs, art, everything it includes, the culture includes. So if we live in a culture, we have to follow certain rules and principles of that culture. But in the hippie movement, the youth, the youth, they wanted to have a subculture. They wanted to have a subculture. They wanted to have a subculture from the main culture. They wanted to have a subculture from the mainstream. In that subculture, they wanted to get what we can say, the rights, especially in music, widespread use of recreational drugs. They wanted to get the rights of sexual liberation. They wanted to get gender equality. So the youth in America, they followed a subculture from the mainstream, and they wanted to have all the kinds of freedom. They wanted to have all the kinds of freedom which was restricted by the main culture. This is hippie movement, and it had a widespread around the world. It has a widespread significance around the world. Then during this post-war period, again we see that Black Arts Movement, BAM, Black Arts Movement. It was an African American led art movement active during 1960s and 70s. Through activism and art, Black art movement created new cultural institutions and conveyed a message of black pride. So in our text, page number 15, the last paragraph we will be getting a greater detail about the black art movement, famously referred to by Larry Neal as the aesthetic and spiritual sister of black power. Black art movement applied these same political ideas to art and literature. This movement resisted traditional Western influences and found new ways to present black experience. So I told you, during the colonization of the real inhabitants of the America or black people, at the time also they were having their own literature. For example, the Arrow of God by Chinua Achebe, and also the Color Purple. So there were a lot of works by the black people. In the same way, these black people, even they were colonized, they had been writing their own literature, and they wanted to have their own platform. They wanted to have their own platform in order to publish their works. They wanted to have their own platform, what we can say, to spread their works. And also they didn't want to have the inclusion of the American history. They wanted to include the history of they wanted to include the history of real natives of America. And also during this period, Black Arts Movement, it's a controversial new movement in African American literature and culture. This is a new movement, and it was a controversial movement. And also we see that it challenged the politics of assimilation, rejected the history of American literature itself, and wrote extremely experimental vernacular literatures. So here we see that in the Black Arts Movement, they rejected the history of American literature. They rejected the history of American literature by the white people, and they wanted to have the literature of the America of the black people. So you will be getting a detailed analysis of the Black Arts Movement in page number 15, the last paragraph. I ask you to go through the last paragraph. The poet and playwright Amiri Baraka is widely recognized as the founder of Black Arts Movement. In 1965, he established the Black Arts Repertory Theatre School in Harlem. Baraka's example inspired many others to create organizations across the United States. While these organizations were short-lived, their work has a lasting influence. So the Black Arts Movement and its founder was Amiri Baraka, and also it was an inspiration for others to have this kind of organization in other parts of America. Though the organizations, it had a limited lifespan, but the works of African American writers, the works of black people, it had a lasting influence in the society and throughout the country.